Hey, you are watching the MTG Thoughtcast. This week's episode is the Tarkir Dragonstorm Precon Reviews, which is obviously a lot of them. There's 5 total. What you've just clicked on is one of our 5 individual videos. If you want to watch the whole thing unedited, all the banter, all the good stuff, you can click on the link somewhere else here on the screen. Otherwise, please enjoy the video you just clicked on.
We arise from the tombs with the Sultai Arisen deck. This is black, green, blue is our Sultai colors here, helmed by our good friend Kotis, Sib-Sig champion. In short, this is going to be a Reanimator style list, as most Sultai colors tend to be, but with some very cool pieces here and there on how we're getting these cards back from our graveyards. So Kotis himself, a very similar feel to Modrafa, you'll notice here. 3/3 legendary zombie warrior. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a creature spell from your graveyard by exiling 3 other cards from your graveyard in addition to paying its other costs. Escape, essentially, just not keyworded.
Nice. Escape 3.
And whenever one or more creatures you control enter, if one or more of them entered from a graveyard or was cast from a graveyard, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Kotis.
So refreshing take on self-mill.
Yep, so just naturally rewarding yourself for replaying things out of your graveyard and obviously also granting you the ability to cast things back out of your graveyard. Notably, the biggest thing with him is that as these things come back in from the graveyard, no finality counter. So there is some
Wizards will never learn.
There is some degeneracy that you can get up to with being able to have things come in and then they die and then they're back in the graveyard and then you get to recast them again with Kotis. It's very fun. You need to be able to fuel your graveyard though to be able to get these things back out of your graveyard. And while killing your own stuff is one way to do it, self-mill is going to be the other. And that's where your backup commander, Tival, the balanced scale, comes in. 1 in Sultai, legendary 4/4 Spirit Dragon, flying, and when Tival attacks, mill 3 cards. Then you may return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, and whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token.
Sidisi turned into a dragon.
Yay, CDC! No, but this is very, very good because obviously if you're running Kotis as your commander, you're going to need pieces, firstly, targets for reanimation, and then second, pieces to exile to the escape. And Tival is really, really good at being able to fuel that. And even if you don't want the land back, then that's like I said, you got pieces in there ready to go for your escape cost for your reanimated pieces. But if you're not immediately reanimating, Tival helps you get extra lands down into play for free. It's very nice.
Yeah, just pure value.
Very big fan of that. We need some reanimator targets in this deck, and I think one of the scariest ones that you could get out right out the gate is one of the new cards, Colossal Grave Reaver. I'm a huge fan of this.
It's so broken.
It's so stupid, dude. I'm a big fan. 6 black and a green for a 7/6 dragon with flying. When this creature enters or attacks, mill 3 cards. So again, like Tival, fuel for our reanimator stuff. And whenever 1 or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put 1 of them onto the battlefield.
What are we doing, dude? No finality counter, first of all. It's just free reanimate off of mill triggers.
Not limited to your turn, not limited to a finality counter, not limited to however it got there from your library, So if somebody else is milling you.
Oh, God forbid. If this ever comes down, stop whatever milling that you're doing.
So you're just I don't know, you mill something stupid like the Multani that comes in this deck. Oops, surprise, right into play it goes. Not tapped either as well, by the way. Not tapped, just ready to go.
Comes in.
Just comes in. It just enters. It's amazing. I'm a big fan of it.
The real question is, do you think anyone's ever going to spend 8 mana on this?
No, but that's what I just said. That this is a fantastic early reanimator target. If you get this down into play fast, and then as you're doing the rest of your strategy with Kotis or Tival, this thing is just going to give you more reanimation on top of what the 2 of them offer you.
Yeah, it's removal check. It's if you don't have removal, I win the game. Oh, and if you do have removal, I'll probably reanimate it again.
Yeah. Speaking of reanimation, you probably would be upset at me if I didn't bring out about Afterlife from the Loam, because I know you're a big fan of this card.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it real quick. So Afterlife from the Loam, not the green one. This is a new black version. This is 5 and triple black for a sorcery with Delve. Delve, you can exile cards from your graveyard to pay for 1 of its casting costs. So at full value Delve, you could get this down to 3 black mana. For each player, choose up to 1 target creature card in that player's graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. They're zombies in addition to their other types.
This is cracked, dude. This is just pure cracked. Why did they put Delve on this card? This would have been a very playable card if it didn't have Delve. I'm going to be really honest with you. That's 8 mana to get 4 creatures back. That alone is like pretty good, let alone putting Delve on this. And I love the little sneaky, like, play this with Life from the Loam, because Life from the Loam twice, dredging 3 twice, is going to get you all of your Delve. It's so... Do you not like this card?
No, I like it. I think it's very, very cool. I just don't think, like, you're gonna need a full graveyard to get this as fast as possible, you know? And sometimes if you just don't end up having the right pieces, sometimes that can be as long as it takes to get to 8 mana naturally, you know?
All I'm saying is that sounds like a skill issue to me. If you don't have the 5 to Delve for this, plus 1 extra creature in your graveyard to reanimate, skill issue. Get good.
No, I get it.
Dude, and even on its own, let's say that there's no other creatures in the graveyard. No other creatures. You've done Life from the Loam. You've dredged it. You've done Life from the Loam again. You've dredged it. We're now like, turn 3 or 4. I don't know. You have 3 mana to just reanimate your stupid Grave Dragon thing that then just keeps you going as you keep Life from the Loaming and dredging into your graveyard. That alone would have cost you 3 mana to reanimate the best card in your deck. That is worth it. That's necromancy price. Let alone if there just happens to be anything else in anybody's graveyards, you're just going to go, I'm going to take that, I'm going to take that, and I'm going to take that. It's bonky. I hesitate to say, but it's bonky.
No, it is a very cool one. I do have to agree with it. It just is just going to depend on the board state if it's going to be any relevant to you. But that's like true of a lot of Magic cards, I suppose.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're not playing this turn 1, of course. But like, I don't want to. I want to play this on turn 6 when everybody's graveyards are juicy.
Okay, so the last I want to talk about one more new card just because I think this one is the most cracked of all of the precons, and I want to talk to you about it. This is Steward of the Harvest. 3 and a green for a 3/3 human druid that when it enters, exile up to 3 target land cards from your graveyard, and creatures you control have all activated abilities of all land cards exiled with this creature.
Is Strip Mine in this deck? Because that's what I want to do.
No, Strip Mine is not in this deck, but there are other sacrificey lands that are in here as well, like the not fetch lands, like Terramorphic Expanses and things like that, that just your creatures now get. So, like, if you are looking...
Notably not non-token creatures. So your 2/2 zombie druids get all of these land abilities.
Correct. Like, here's the floor. The floor is if you have hit something like a basic land. Now this is kind of granting, like, Cryptolith right to your tokens and your non-tokens, that they just tap to produce mana. But if you include any kind of land that's got an activated ability of any capacity on it, fetch lands, things like Maze of Ith and Cabal Coffers and Inventor's Fair and Thespian Stage and Manlands, things of that nature, anything that's got cracked activated abilities on them, now all your creatures have them. Could you imagine a board of Cabal Coffers?
Dude, or like Lotus Field. Like, you play Lotus Field, sacrifice itself, exile it to the Steward of the Harvest, and now all of your creatures tap for 3 mana of any color.
It's stupid.
It's really, really good. This has implications, I think, in formats outside of Commander as well. Like, I think that there will be a legacy deck that plays the Steward of the Harvest to some degree of success.
Excellent.
But it's absolutely gorgeous.
All right. let's get going on some reprints and stuff as well, because this one is not crazy as far as his reprints are concerned, but there are some very, very cool ones in here as well. There's a Delphi Voidwalker that comes in.
What kind of a weird reprint, but a good one.
Yeah, I like it. I'm a very big fan of that. Just incidental graveyard hate. That, by the way, like when you go to sacrifice him to be able to cast something that your opponent has exiled, oops, Codis will bring him right back. Junji is an amazing reanimator target because then when he dies, he'll reanimate something else and then bring him back again later and blah, blah, blah. It's
Junji is best dragon.
Junji is very good. I already brought up Multani. There's a Maren in here. Very classic reanimator card. I definitely wanted to tell you that your best boy River Kelpie's in here.
I haven't seen River Kelpie in years. And as I was scrolling through, I loved seeing that. He's such a good boy.
Good boy, good boy. You brought up Life from the Loam, and there's a Living Death in here as well. So for the same reason, like if you're in a weird kind of board stall that you've got no reanimator pieces down in play, oops, Living Death, just bring everybody back.
Absolutely. Living Death is just 5 mana. I win the game if you have a graveyard. Especially if you have that Delphi Voidwalker down and you've exiled everybody else's graveyard, so they're getting no value from it. If you can turn Living Death into you guys are screwed, I get my entire graveyard back, that's how you win the game.
Amazing. But what's missing from this deck? I wanted to just bring up as a sidebar for at least an honorable pick anyway, the new set Sidisi would be very, very silly in here. The sort of pod related one. You sacrifice a thing, reanimate something back out of your graveyard, then Codis can bring that original card back if you cast it, and it's a whole cycle. But but you're leaning more into doing like pod stuff if you do that. So Joseph, a bunch of cards exiting and re-entering the graveyard. Who's missing from this list?
Is this Sir Conrad, perhaps?
It's our friend Sir Conrad. He's not here, and he definitely
deserves to be.
Because
if you've never played Sir Conrad in a self-mill reanimator deck and just won the game in like 3 activations, you're missing out.
Well, get this. Outside of just self-reanimator as well, but remember, Codis's trigger says to get the creature back, you have to cast it plus exile cards from your graveyard.
Oh, yeah.
Which is another trigger for Conrad, I believe.
Yeah. And with the Living Death, it triggers it would just trigger once. It would trigger on all of the creatures leaving the graveyard and then but not coming in from exile. Still, it is ridiculous. Oh, no, it would trigger for everything sacrificing as well. So like sacrifice everything including itself, all the other triggers. Yeah, Sir Conrad is busted.
Yep, throw him in. Get him in here. We need some more efficient ways to fill our graveyard potentially as well. There's a little bit of dredge in here, but I think you should put a Golgari Grave Troll in here.
Not Stinky?
Stinky can go in here too. Absolutely.
Stinky.
Yeah. Include some more dredge in your catalog of things in here. But Grave Troll is kind of the iconic one that I like to think of.
Totally. I would say, like, while we're talking about dredge, since this is very near and dear to my heart, Life from the Loam is the best of them because you don't have to choose anything. You can just play it for 2 mana to essentially cycle it out of your hand to then set up the next dredge. Whereas like Grave Troll and Stinkweed Imp, you need to find a way to sacrifice them and get them back into the graveyard to continue dredging, which is why Life for the Loam is included in the deck. There's a weird land sub-theme in this deck, isn't there?
Yes, it's trying to also be landfall because we've got stuff like Avenger of Zendikar, and there's Obnixilis the Fallen. All of them trying to do like landfall.
What a weird include. Obnixilis the Fallen? Great. I mean, that was like a $14 card. I'm glad it's reprinted. But I would say, I mean, this is your upgrade guide, of course, John, but I would say you should probably cut Obnixilis.
Well, these are probably here to play with the Taval side of this deck.
Yeah.
If you wanted to play Taval as your commander, where instead of just trying to get tons of creature value, Taval is trying to get small incremental land value, which is something you are going to need, right? The two of these things paired together is how you're going to get this synergy going. The Taval land rampy kind of thing is going to give you the mana you need to do Codis's reanimate creatures plus exiling your graveyard and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
It's very, very good. But if you're looking for things to be able to get your creatures back into the graveyard for sacrifice, I think you should put an Altar of Dementia.
Yeah, dude. Target yourself
to mill cards equal to the thing's power that you have milled. It is bonky with something like Consuming Aberration.
Yeah. Oh, dude, speaking of targeting yourself to mill, you didn't even mention there's a Hedron Crab in this deck.
Oh, there is a Hedron Crab in here.
He's a good boy. Similarly, well, I was going to mention, like, with things that say, like, target player mills, in a deck like this, you're always going to want to choose yourself. And Hedron Crab just making you mill somewhere between 3 and 6 cards a turn, depending on if it's fetch lands, 3 and 12 cards a turn, realistically, depending on fetch lands and Taval and things like that. But Altered Dementia, exactly the same way. As you sacrifice these zombie druids that Taval's making, you just chuck more cards in the bin and then get lands back.
One last recently printed card that has probably come down enough as far as cost to consider it reasonable for upgrade. Grab yourself a Hermit Druid. I feel like would be a great pick for something in here.
Dang, that would be. I forgot that that's a reasonable card now.
Yeah, it's under $5 now from Innistrad Remastered somehow. And if just a little bit of tweaking is all you would need in the lands to be able to give it like the extreme amount of value that Hermit Druid does. But as is, naturally, if you were to just throw it in here as is, you only have, let's do a count here, 6, 10, 15. There's 15 basics in the deck. So he'll reasonably mill you 5 to 7 cards every. Yeah, he'll mill you a reasonable amount of cards every time you activate him.
Nice. That's awesome.
And that's going to do it for our zombie friend here. Basically, fill your bin, recast your creatures, perpetually do it forever. There's no stopping the Sultai Swarm.
No way. What do you think about this deck, scale of 1 to 10?
1 to 10. I kind of got a similar thing. I'm probably going to put this at about a 7 as well. Again, I'm not just trying to say every deck is a 7. That's not the joke here.
This is the new every deck is a 7, is us just rating decks on a scale of 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm. Again, for us, a similar feel to what I talked about previously is that like the idea is very, very cool. It's very synergistic with itself, but sometimes self-mill can kind of end up being a little bit of a complex type of thing of like, especially resource management. You have to learn how to do proper resource management when it comes to doing reanimator shells like this, because Codis wants things in your graveyard, but then you also have to pick what you're exiling as part of his cost to be able to get your things back. And sometimes if you just exile away the wrong collection of stuff, you're just going to be out of gas for the rest of the game.
Oh yeah. Also, mega thinky deck, I would say. This is a big thinking.
Yes. Also, graveyard hate exists, and no matter how a deck is built, sometimes a deck just cannot bounce back after enough of a graveyard hate, excuse me. So that is something to keep an eye out for. So as a whole, this deck is very, very cool, but can definitely hit roadblocks if need be.